Hey everyone, welcome back to my workbench. Gonna be a little different today. That's gonna be a 5200 controller day. So I had a customer up in Canada who has an issue with his controller, his 5200, his Jaguar to 5200 conversion, just going to the right. So he also says something's rattling around inside, so that's never a good thing. I'm usually very coy about what's inside these Jaguar conversions. However, I am kind of planning on, I'm 60-40 on discontinuing the Jaguar conversion. It's just getting too expensive to do the conversions. I mean, just the raw the controller itself is somewhere in it's like $60 shipped now, and that's not including the cord, which is like $10 just for this cord. I mean, give you a little inside information, like it's like $8 to $10 for the cord, and then there's a lot of labor that goes into modify. I have to modify. This is, if you ever open up a Jaguar controller, this one's been modified. So this is your upper board, which has your directional controls and your buttons and your start stop, all that fun stuff. And then there's a lower board here, which has the numeric keypad. And I have to add, this is just a prototype one, so it's really crude compared to what actually shipped. So version 1 had fixed resistors, version 2 had potentiometers accessible to the outside world, and version 2.1 had an improved, in case you ever see your controller, you wonder what the version number is. 2.1 has an improved stream relief. So that's the difference between different versions. So you can look inside here, there's quite a bit of labor that goes into it. You can't even see under here. I actually have to cut like 3 traces on the board. I have to bridge. It's a pain. And the supply of the black keypad ones is like dried up, and all I have now is the gray button ones. The problem with the gray button ones, the gray ones are the version 2.0 of the Jaguar controller, and they took a lot of copper out, and I've had excuse me, a couple issues recently, and I have another one where I'm getting a board returned to me, a controller returned to me because I have the row 4 isn't working. So internally, I mean, if you look on the bottom board, you've column 1, column 2, column 3. So you got column, and then you have row 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 4 is the one another customer is having problems with. I'm thinking it's probably a pinched wire, it'd be my guess, or because I have to bridge across several of these diodes to get there too. So I'm really tempted to just open source the design to the world, and whoever wants to try, go ahead. It's a pain. It's not the easiest thing. So back to customer up in Canada who is unhappy with the fact that he's been very polite actually, and he got a new job, so good for him. His copy of go up one. Pac-Man is going only to the right. Let's see, can I skip down faster? Pac-Man. This guy. And even, you see, I just had to readjust this. I've had cases where these packages slop over a little bit. Really a pain. Oh. And kind of difficult to... Oh, see, these things are so fiddly. You can see why I'm really kind of sick of them. But you can see this is just... He just sits neutral. So, and this Pac-Man's working fine. This controller is set up properly. So how I set up my controllers initially is when you boot up the 5200. I got 5200. Oh, see, I hate these damn. I'm so sick of working on these. I mean, I've made quite a bit of money, but I personally am like burnt out from these controllers. They've been really fickle. So if you hold down the fire button, if you're doing Atari Max, is if you have Atari Max cartridge, let me blow this up just a little bit so you can see. It's Atari Max cartridge down here. See that bouncing 70, 71, 71, 72? Those are the analog. That's the resistance values it's reading. So it goes from 0 to E4. It's in hex. So 77172 is almost exactly midway. So if the potentiometer is set to that point, then that's what it is. So if you have one of the newer version 2 and above, if you look on the bottom, you'll actually see a label go across here. This is, it'll say X, well, it'll have the serial number here, and then you have one below it that says XY adjust. So your X would be your left potentiometer. I think I'm maxing out my microphone. Hold on a second. All right, it should blow anyone the word. Okay, so if you pull that label back, you'll have an X and a Y adjust. So in this case, the X is off, or the only thing I think of is, you see, the only reason you go off to the right, because the way it is, left is the lowest resistance or short, and the right is the highest resistance. And the original Atari controller had 0 to 640K potentiometer that would wipe back and forth. So these are two pots that kind of emulate that. So when you push left, you're basically slamming the potentiometer to the left. If you hit right, you're shorting out to the power plane. Oh. So on the real version, if this part here will be a little board about 2 centimeters by 1.5 centimeters, and it have traces cut into it, and it should be actually glued down to this board, taped down to this board, so when it clamshells together, those two potentiometers are actually exposed. And if you want to get into this controller, if you get it and you get these four, if these look like they're covered, it's because they are. You just use like a little fine screwdriver and pry it up. Again, this is things that keep on I'm getting units in that don't even have these pads anymore, so you just pull the full screws out, pull straight up, and it'll expose. You'll see it look. In the real released ones I have a better string relief than this one. That's a big improvement I had. This is actually an original 5200 controller cord, so it's quite short. The ones I make have a much longer cord. You can see I was actually playing around with this one, doing some experiments. So you actually see the board will be a short little board, and oh, let me grab a marker. It'll be stuck right around here, and you'll see two potentiometers on there. It'll look kind of like this, and you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll see 6 wires coming out of it. I think it's white wires will be coming out the center, and then you'll have a pink and a. I'll tell you exactly what you'll have under it. Like I said, I used to be really paranoid about showing everyone how this is made, but this is my schematic for the 5200 control, the Jaguar, the 5200 controller. There goes my pen. So the little board is actually this guy right here. They're two 500K pots. They get trimmed about 240-ish K, somewhere around there. the center them out. And yeah, you'll have a white wire. Well, 2 white wires will be coming out, 2 black wires, 2 pink wires. And your pink is for your Y and the black is for X. So, but yeah, in case you're ever wondering, this is what goes into it. So I actually have to cut I have to cut 2 traces. I have to add a bridge, and then this was the original Jaguar board here, and this is the modified one. And this is basically the pinout for the 5200. And this goes in pin 1, you got your column 3, column 2, and then column 1, and hops over to column 4, which column 4 is actually your start, select, and pause button. So the keypad on the bottom uses 3 of the columns. The 4th column is for the 3 buttons that are on the top. So if you open this up and you see your little board sitting over here, well, that's not right. It needs to go back over here. And if you don't have an Atari Max cartridge, I would go into if the board is still in place, just try adjusting the X until Pac-Man stops biasing to one side or the other, or pick a game like, if you have it, I find Ball Blazers a really good one because it uses a really analog control. Yeah, but even if you go into Pac-Man and you just keep adjusting the potentiometer until he doesn't keep going off to the right, so you're going to have to turn it slightly to the left, counterclockwise. As a word of advice, most people won't have this, but use an insulated screwdriver, also known as a tweaker in electronics world. And the reason you do that is if you use a metal screwdriver, your body acts like an antenna, and the screwdriver acts like an antenna. So whatever signals your body's absorbing signals all the time, it will be transferred down into it, and you'll have to keep on going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth trying to do it, because every time you turn it, you're conducting a current into the board, and it's going to mess with your reading. So get yourself like an insulated screwdriver. The key is you don't want to have your fingers in direct contact with the metal. So you don't want to use something like this, where your fingers are in direct contact with the metal. Cheat is just take a regular jeweler's screwdriver and wrap it in some electrical tape and just turn it by the electrical tape. That way you won't have to do the nightmarish dance of trying to adjust it. So that's all that's in there. Just 2 original boards, 1 extra board, and a whole bunch of wiring, and I figured out. And that's what goes into a Jaguar to 5200 conversion. These boards are going to actually, I cut these PC boards myself. There's not these little prototypes here. It's actual a cut circuit board. Just this happens to be a prototype, so it's never been graced with the final board. I'll probably cut up, I don't know. Again, I don't know if I'm going to be doing any more Jaguar boards or not. The reason why is I have 2, possibly 3 new controllers coming out for the 5200. And drum roll please, this is going to be the digital one. And this one's almost done. I had 1 slight manufacturing incident on my prototype, but the new one's not going to have that. Though I might have a placard here anyway that just says something. We have a 3D printer now, yay! And print a nice little like Atari 5200 placard to cover up this injection mold spot. This will be an X and a Y potentiometer accessible with a nice little knob, which I don't have one in front of me right now. But there'll be 2 knobs here and ambidextrous. If you'd like to play righty or lefty, won't matter. Nice arcade style buttons, accessible XY adjustments, really solid, nice joystick. Keypad, this one's just going to have ABC for your pause, select, start buttons. And then The most exciting thing I've been working on in my free time is the true analog controller. This one is going to have very similar button arrangement. It's going to have, in this case, I'm going to have these aren't set to the right height yet, but these nice little clickety buttons for the start, the pause, start, reset buttons. Will be sitting about here. I'm going to make those holes slightly tighter on the final version, but this is an ugly prototype board. It's going to have just a 2x3, sorry, a 3x4 keypad. Will be sitting right there. Again, this is a prototype. You can see little machine messes, but and then this joystick will be, I'm either going to have the ball style, which is like that. This is an old analog controller made many years ago. Still works, but I couldn't figure out a way to mass produce it. Now I can. And this guy is going to have either that ball style, which costs a bit more, or I'm going to 3D print a copy of the original 5200 joystick. So you'll have the whole 5200 feel to it. You have orangey reddish buttons. You'll have your traditional same color buttons across the top, same number, numeric keypad there. This will be in all black. So I'm getting a couple cases in Friday, and then I'll put them on my and see if my camera locks the focus right. Of course it won't. Why would it? So that'll be coming very soon. I'm hoping to have this all done by the new year, so I can actually have this for sale. Ironically enough, I did the numbers on it, and the digital controller here I could sell for, Amazon. I could sell for $10 less than the current Jaguar controller, because the Pete's parts costs are a lot cheaper because everything's new. It's actually a lot less expensive to buy new stuff. And then this guy, the analog one, is going to be the same price as the Jaguar conversion. So it'll be $119 and be true analog. So in case you're wondering how that's going to work, is you have two potentiometers on here. And I've already tried it out before, but I had to take it apart because I'm trying to figure out a better way to attach it now. But there's going to be, this needs to move up very slightly, but there's going to be a potentiometer here on a custom bracket, another potentiometer here on a custom bracket. I'm going to JB weld it to here, and there's going to be adjustable capacitors, because the problem is you can't get enough swing off of, you can't find 45 degree, actually is it 45 or about 90 degrees, about a little less than 90 degree swing through that kind of range. So it's easy to find 1 mega potentiometers, and from my research on people using digital potentiometers, to say is throw a capacitor in there to do it. And I did do that, and I did it on my oscilloscope. And yes, indeed, you can put a cap across there and simulate a higher resistance. But yeah, that is, when I actually get to that point, I will do another video with my oscilloscope. I think I did one already. Show you the oscilloscope with this new controller here, and we'll do a full demonstration of how it works, along with playing some actual games with it. But to wrap it up, new digital controller, new analog controller. Thinking of ditching the Jaguar controller just because it's such a it's a pain, and for the amount of labor I'm putting into it, I'm really not making any money off of it. Very minimal. I've had to raise my prices like 3 times, and I'm still, because the price of the controllers are so expensive now, I just can't make any money off of it. Especially I have to put like over an hour of labor into this, and that's a lot. Like, I hate to say it, but like this is going to be a lot easier for me because I have a CNC. CNC cuts all these holes for me. I have to set up on the machine, cuts all the holes. I go through, I wire it all up, test it, adjust it, send it out. So that'll be a lot less labor on my part. I want to spend an entire hour cutting traces, and these things are so fiddly now. And again, the analog controller is not going to be that much different. The only thing I need to figure out, I'm actually working on my other computer over here, how to, I'm designing up a 3D printed copy of the original 5200 joystick. So you'll get really a 5200 feel to it. These are nice industrial joysticks. Yeah, but getting back to the original case at hand, this is, you'll see little board inside, but yay big, 2 potentiometers sitting up. If it's anywhere but like right here, it came loose. There's some industrial double-sided tape that's supposed to hold it in place, which is this stuff right here, but it may have let loose. Other than that, you really shouldn't hear anything rattling around. The board should sit, this upper board should sit in right here. This board should be screwed into place here, so it's held down by 2 screws here. And again, to get into it, if you got caps, take the 4 little caps off, take the 4 self-tapping screws. Be wary, if you do that, these screws are longer than these screws, so keep them separated. You could put the longer screws in the shorter ones. If you can't put the shorter ones in the longer, they won't catch. So just a word of warning, shorties, long on the bottom there. But yeah, that should do it. Comments, questions, suggestions, let me know down in the comments. After this, I'm going to get these prototypes done and figure out I already figured out the price point, so take some nice pictures, put them on my own website so you can order them if you like. Then I'm going to get back to the Jaguar learning computer, and I got a couple sharp Zorai I got to finish up. Other than that, it's going to be learning computer probably next. Well, I'll probably do one more video on the analog version of the controller, and then black case in action, so you can actually see how it works, and then back to learning computer. Everyone, thank you for watching, and have a great evening.